In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use the WRAPROWS and WRAPCOLS functions here in Google Sheets. So these two functions takes a long list of values, whether that's one column or one row, and wraps them in multiple rows or columns. In our first function right here, which is our WRAPROWS, we have the syntax right here. We have the WRAPROWS function, then arrange, which will be our data. Our wrap count would be the number of items before it wraps it up in that one row and moves on to the next row. And finally, our pad width, which I will explain a little later. So let's go ahead and try this out. So we have our example data right here. If I were to reshape this data and have 3 items per row before it moves on to the next, what I'm going to do is to start with my WRAPROW function. There we go. Again, we have our syntax, our range, which is this data right here, comma. Again, our wrap count is how many items we want in each row before it wraps up and moves on to the next row. So I want 3 items per row. So I'm going to put a 3 right here. And if I press enter right now, this is what it's going to look like. So we have 3 items. In the first row, 1, 2, 3, before it wrapped it up and moved on to the next row with, again, our next 3 items right here. And again, with the next 3 with an error at the end. Now, this error can easily be replaced with our pad width, which is in our formula right here. So going back to our formula, there we go. If I add another comma right there and enter a value which will replace our error, that can be a space, a 0, another number, that's totally up to you. If I were to just put a space right there and press enter, that error has disappeared and been replaced with a blank space. And there we have it. Now if I change my wrap count to, let's say, just 2 right here, press enter, there we have it. Again, 2 items on each row before it moved on to, again, another row, placing those next 2 items. There we have it. So that's our WRAPROWS function. Let's try and do our WRAPCOLS function on our next sheet right here. So it's basically the same syntax, but this time instead of a row, we are reshaping a data within our columns. So again, if I were to, let's say, reshape this data and have 2 items per column, this is how we're going to do it. So again, start with your equal sign. Type in WRAPCOLS or select it right there. Select our range or our data, comma. Our wrap count, again, is 2 items per column before it moves on to the next column and the next column. If I press enter, there you have it. So we have 2 items in this first column. Before moving on and wrapping it up to the next, 2 items again, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If I were to replace that with a 3, so 3 items in one column, there we have it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 3 items, moving on to the next, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and an error. Again, we can easily replace this by adding that comma at the end and replacing it with whatever we want instead of that error. If we want a 0, there you have it. Press enter and you will have a 0 right there. If we were to replace our wrap count into a 5 and press enter, there you have it. Again, we have 5 items in the first column before wrapping it up and moving on to the next 5 items. And again, those errors or those empty spaces are replaced with zeros. And there you have it. So you can definitely use these 2 functions in turning a single long column into a neat grid or table. You can also use this in preparing data for printing or dashboards and breaking down lists into equal parts for easier viewing like this. And there you have it. That's how you can use the WRAPROWS and WRAPCOLS functions here in Google Sheets. Thank you for watching this quick tutorial. Make sure to subscribe for more helpful videos, and I will see you in the next one.